On May 3, 2026, over 2.2 million students walked into exam halls across 550 Indian cities. Getting a seat at one of those desks often required years of intense sacrifice. Families sold jewelry to afford tuition, took out high-interest loans, and sent teenagers to live in isolated coaching hubs like Kota to prepare for this one specific test. All of that financial strain and lost hours of sleep ultimately came down to a single pen and a stack of multiple-choice questions. To protect those questions, the National Testing Agency, or NTA, deployed a massive physical security apparatus. Education officials monitored control rooms, while AI cameras, GPS tracking, and biometric scanners guarded the doors. From the outside, the system looked like a digital fortress. It was engineered to guarantee a fair fight for every student in the room. But 4 days later, on May 7th, a medical student in Kerala sent his father a suspicious PDF. The file had originated from a coaching center in Sikar. The file was labeled as a guess paper, a list of over 300 practice questions that was actively bouncing around WhatsApp and Telegram groups. Staff at the Sikar Institute decided to check this digital document against the actual Neet 2026 exam that had just been administered. Out of 410 total questions on the real exam, exactly 140 matched the guess paper word for word. A coincidence on that scale is statistically impossible. The cameras and biometric scanners at the testing centers had protected nothing because the breach had occurred long before the exam papers ever reached the halls. When the Indian government established the NTA in 2017, the explicit mandate was to create a zero-corruption testing body capable of delivering completely transparent exams. Yet, by 2024, the agency was presiding over widespread systemic failures. The NEET undergraduate exam suffered leaks, the UGC net was completely scrapped, and university entrance exams stalled due to server crashes. The government formed the Radhakrishnan Committee to recommend reforms, later claiming to have implemented 70% of them. Yet heading into the 2026 exam cycle, the NTA had operated without a permanent chief for more than 12 months. The NTA relied on high-tech surveillance to maintain order, even as the agency itself operated without a permanent leader for an entire year. When the CBI raided a house in Pune, they targeted a man named Professor P.V. Kulkarni. Kulkarni taught chemistry at Dayanand Medical College in Latur. Crucially, he was also a trusted member of the NTA panel, the very group responsible for writing the 2026 test. In late April, Kulkarni hosted private sessions in his living room for students who had paid hundreds of thousands of rupees. He stood in front of them and dictated the exact questions and correct options, which the students copied down. Forensic examiners later took those student notebooks and laid them next to the official NEET paper. The handwriting matched the printed exam text perfectly. What started as an analog theft in a single room quickly scaled. An organized exam mafia purchased the questions, labeled them as VIP sets, and distributed them across encrypted messaging channels, putting nearly 600 of the exam's 720 possible marks into a nationwide distribution network. The NTA had spent millions building a digital wall to watch the students, but they deployed zero meaningful defenses against the people trusted to actually write the test. On May 12, 2026, the NTA took a step it had never taken in the history of the exam. They canceled the entire test. Police conducted 8 mass arrests, slowly dismantling a criminal network that stretched across Jaipur, Gurugram, Nashik, Pune, and Ahilya-Nagar. But the immediate victims were the millions of students who had studied legitimately. Their years of honest preparation were instantly wiped out by the cancellation. The 2026 NEET leak serves as a harsh lesson in security architecture. External technology cannot patch an internal human vulnerability. The AI cameras and GPS trackers monitored the exam halls, but they were powerless against a breach that began inside the panel itself. Until the network of brokers is dismantled and the internal vetting process is overhauled, the technology remains an outward layer of protection for a system that can still be sold from the inside.